I think music really helped my grandfather cope with his life. He had been in the Coast Guard, later on marrying and having kids, grandkids. But he kept going back to his little wooden room. I say wooden because the room had a wood fan, wood floors, wood dressers and drawers, and then the guitars mounted on the wall. I remember going to his special little room, and he would open his dresser drawers. There'd be piles of sheet music and chord progressions written out in his handwriting, tins of guitar picks. It was the summer when I turned 11, and he and my grandmother surprised me one sweaty afternoon. They came inside. It was nice and cool. I guess he was acting kind of funny. I didn't notice it at the time, though. My grandmother was talking, and I guess that was her way of distracting me. He tapped me on the shoulder. I turned around, and he had the biggest smile on his face. And in his right hand, he was holding the most beautiful blue guitar that I have ever seen in my life. And he said, well, he didn't actually say anything. He just handed it to me with the biggest smile. And I was completely struck dumb. I used to conduct Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker Suite when I was like 3 years old. It would play on my pink Hello Kitty CD player when my mom would clean up her closet. Music has always been a very innate part of me, though I never had the opportunity to play anything up until that point. So when he walked through that door and handed me my first instrument, I knew that from then on, my life would be forever changed. I would come up with chord progressions and play by ear. I had a knack for that. It was a desire to play a classical instrument. My mother had a baby grand piano, second-hand, that my father bought for her when they first married. It has the most beautiful sounds, like pure magic. I picked up the piano extremely fast, freshman year of high school. I would practice for hours upon hours. It was a very deep passion of mine. I remember that year both my grandparents were in the hospital with health complications. My grandfather was diagnosed with stage 4 bile duct cancer, and my grandmother was experiencing issues with her congestive heart failure. I remember my first piano recital was in October. How they couldn't be there because they were both still very ill. It was the day after Thanksgiving. We were going to visit them and bring them some turkey because they were both finally home. But Papa was doing really poorly. My mom said, "Bring your camera. You can show them, your piano recital." Internally, I did not feel like I was good enough yet to show them my music. So I purposefully left my camera at home. Lied. When we got there, I kind of immediately regretted it. When it was time to say goodbye and go home, I wouldn't even go and give him a hug. I was just having a very difficult time with the way he looked. I couldn't fathom how he didn't have his charismatic smile, his contagious laugh. I didn't want to be a part of this. I regret that now. I had missed 2 opportunities that day. One, to share my huge passion for piano with him because I knew he would have been so proud. And 2, because I never got to say goodbye. I remember at my first ever guitar recital, I had finger plucked a little melody from Claire de Lune, and afterward, he kept humming it, and he said how he loved the song. It was one of his favorites. For his funeral mass, my sister and I decided to do a piano-violin duet. After we performed it, I was at peace. I was finally able to share something with him that was so dear to my heart. And every time I hear that piece, I think of him smiling, handing me that blue guitar. He would never play in front of people, would always coop himself up in his wooden room. I think he played the most for me because he gave me a guitar. We had that connection. To me, though, that just makes it all worse, because I didn't share my music with him. He didn't think he was competent in his playing abilities, so he hid. I think I do that too. Music is supposed to be shared and bring people together, not be a solitary hobby. That's what makes music so powerful, is that one person, one musical piece, one instrument can unite millions of people through a simple tune. It's opened my eyes to do that more. I don't have to be a perfect musician to share my music, or a perfect writer to share my writing. Art is a very powerful tool to bring people together. So I've learned not to wait until you're perfect, because you're never going to be perfect. You're never going to have all the time in the world to practice, and you're never going to have all the time in the world to perfect something before you show someone, because they're not going to be here forever, and you're not going to be here forever. So I think that is a huge lesson that he has taught me, and I will forever be grateful for him, for his wisdom, and for his inspiration.